Shaq Fu, Legend Reborn. First thing I have to say is, this takes an incredibly long time to load. I think it actually might be longer than Lego City. And that loaded in a big city to play in. This is just a normal platformer. What is taking so long? This takes over 2.5 minutes just to load the game. It's like it's loading assets to the greatest game ever made. Spoiler to this review, no, it's not. This is ridiculous. I mean, I could just sit the whole 2.5 minutes waiting for this loading screen and just talking about the game. There is no reason in the world this needed to take this long. Move it on. This is a sort of remake of a terrible Super Nintendo and Genesis game also named Shaq Fu. Incredibly, this was crowdsourced into existence. It raised over $450,000 from normal people who said, we really need another sequel for a really bad Shaquille O'Neal fighting game. Now, I'm not one to crap on crowdsourced games, as I've given to a title as well, as I've mentioned before when I reviewed the Tesla Effect. I gave $500 on that one, but that was based on a great full-motion video adventure game, which by the way is getting yet another game. The original game was known to be terrible. It's so bad that even ShaqFu.com is a website that's all about destroying every last copy of the game. So why would over 1,300 people give a combined total of over $450,000? Was it that they really thought this game was going to be fantastic? No, I just have to imagine they did it just for fun. And that's a lot of money just to be given on a lark. Now, I never played the original game. I always saw it there sitting on the Blockbuster shelves. From what I hear, I didn't miss anything. Now, this is a crazy game. Every stereotype you could think of is portrayed here. They do paint the whole thing in the tone of comedy, so the creators can kind of get away with it. But it's one of those things like, Shaq, you really want your name on this? The story is that what if there was a world where Shaq wasn't a basketball star, but an orphan who was raised by a Chinese man who teaches him the way of martial arts? Demons attack him and his master, and he has to travel around the world stopping them. Now, this is a brawler, where mostly generic enemies will just keep walking towards you until you die, or they all do. Think Streets of Rage or Final Fight, that sort of gameplay. Only this was way more boring. Fighting the same people over and over again isn't entertaining. It's a chore. I really don't know the reason for this. Was it just lazy game design? Now, they do change up the characters occasionally, but those changes were very small. Instead of being slow and easy to kill, they might be quick and easy to kill, or have a shield or a weapon. It still came down to punch until they're dead, then rinse and repeat. There were moments of inspirations of craziness, where Shaq would put on like a robot suit, or for some reason he becomes a cactus that would fire endless needles. These moments went on way too long though. It would just keep going and going and going. I mean, I have to imagine these people had playtesters and they must have said, yeah, this isn't good. They're like, well, yeah, but we're remaking a terrible game, so anything is better than what we had before. Or they purposely did it just so they just had it like, oh, we're going to make a terrible game for the new age. They do let you increase the difficulty in case you want to drag out this game even longer. Although they might say they did it to give you more of a challenge. So to each their own. Now the controls were okay. I had some issues with the super punch or kick. It just depended on how you were standing or what direction you were holding. However, I eventually got it down. One of the better parts of this game were the cutscenes. I could see they spent a lot of time and money making them. I just wish they spent more time on the game itself. Shaq Fu Legend Reborn was not great. Since I didn't play the original, I can't tell if it was better than that, but I'd have to assume it was, from all the people who hate the original game. This has got to be one of the craziest games that I've ever played when it comes to the story, and I played House of the Dead Overkill. The game does know that the story is bonkers, and it doesn't hide from it, and it kind of embraces it by saying, we know this is insane, but roll with it and keep playing. And I might recommend it for the story alone, just as like a seeing is believing it sort of thing. But the gameplay makes this thing a chore to play, so I think you should just skip this. It's too bad. This could have been so much better if they just tightened up the repetitive brawling gameplay and focused in on what worked with the character interacting in the locations and in those brief moments when they introduce someone new. It's fun for those split seconds, but then they kill it by having the same character show up repeatedly. So you should just skip this.